What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Movie Talks, only because you need for all your movie news, movie reviews, and more. Episode 86. We're back with the rebels that are holding up that moon. It's Zack Snyder is coming in and he is setting records, which is absolutely incredible because we'll get into that. He set a brand new record just for him. And then we've got
Just for
them.
him. All right.
Mm,
I'm
mm.
intrigued.
And then we've got the Monkey Man, which is a new movie, which Lawson's been very, very excited for. It's been able to be reprised and come back, and it's
Hmm.
surviving. And then we've got the
It's
newest.
had quite a journey, yeah.
It is a journey. The movie's a journey too. It's quite something. And then we've got the Grimm Variations, which is Netflix's newest anime adaptation, telling the twist on the Grimm fairy tales. So it's not
Yeah.
what you expect, but it's something.
It's
So,
something.
hmm. So let's jump into movie news because we know that you're all here for a little bit of movie news. We are moving at a little bit of a quicker pace. It's a bit of a big day for both of us. We got many things on during our usual time, but that's fun. All right, we've
Yeah,
got
let's do it.
Tom Holland is talking about the fourth MCU Spider-Man film, which is currently in development. So surprise, surprise, Spider-Man's going to have another film, which
Yep.
I'm not
That I
up.
won't watch.
No, I'm not upset about. I do like Spider-Man, even though I think he's the
That's
worst Spider-Man. But oh well, we've
Feel happy with
got
more Spider-Man regardless.
mm, we've got Deadpool and Wolverine trailer unites with Wade Wilson and Logan in the MCU. I'm hoping it's going to be good. The trailer looks fun, but I'm hoping it's not like all the hype and then it's just average. Kind of like two wasn't
Oh,
great.
I didn't watch it because I did not give a shit.
Well, it's not out
It's
yet,
go-
so
it's go- it's going to be exactly what we think it's going to be. It's going to
okay.
be silly fourth wall jokes, a couple action scenes. I
Mm,
don't see it being any different to Deadpool.
yeah, fair, fair. Yeah. Well, then we've got a James Cameron documentary, which is about aliens expanded documentary. So it's
Yeah, I did see.
all about him creating aliens and stuff, which is it'd be
Mm,
pretty interesting. I'd be keen for that.
yeah, for sure.
We've got Quentin Tarantino scraps the movie critics as his final film. So it's going to be interesting. I like Tarantino
What do you
where he's like
What does that mean?
he's
Scraps
like
it as his
all
final
over it.
film. What do you mean?
So eagerly anticipating
Sorry.
Quentin Tarantino's next and according to him his final film as the movie critic. So his
The
final
film was
film.
called The Movie Critic.
Yeah.
All right.
He reckons it's going to be his final one. I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
Mm,
of directors say that,
yeah.
and then like people saying that's my last tour, and then
John.
it's
All
not.
right, John Farnham.
John Farnham.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't think he needs to rev up that much because I feel like his name's going to sell films.
Yeah, literally.
Then we've got a brand new Transformer 1 trailer where a young Optimus Prime and Megatron team up on a mission to save Cybertron.
Yeah, I saw this on TikTok.
It'd be a little bit
It
different.
looks real silly.
Okay.
Like not silly fun, silly like dumb.
Yeah.
It intrigued me at first because it's an interesting animation, like almost like it feels like a just a higher level of the old cartoons we used to watch.
Yeah.
But
We'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
We've got James Cameron as Bruton Taylor Vince as Jonathan Kent, which is an interesting choice.
what?
The Jonathan Kent, Superman's father, has been cast
Ah,
in James Gunn's new one, which is he looks more like an older, let himself go Lex Luthor than he does Jonathan Kent. Jonathan Kent
maybe that's
was
that's the twist. He's both.
maybe. And another one that is jumping in is Keanu Reeves is apparently voicing Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that's
Yeah.
great. Good on
I quite,
him.
I quite like the Sonic films, and I think they've done reasonably well. I actually like two far better than one. One was just like a buddy I need a buddy rather than just running to get my rings. Like he
Right.
decided to go on a road trip rather
Road
than
trip.
like
Yeah. Even though he can run.
yeah. Where the
I haven't
second
seen
one,
either of them.
okay, the second one brought in Tails and also Knuckles, and
Yeah.
I quite like that one. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's cool. Because he's already got like a pretty fun cast. Like we've got Jim Carrey and stuff. Like,
yeah. Jim Carrey's coming back after he said it was like this is my last whatever, but he really likes the character, so he's like yeah whatever.
exactly. Yeah. I think we've discussed it before, but to me that was more of a I'm only going to do things I really enjoy now.
Mm,
Like
mm,
he's made his money. Like why would he put the effort in anymore? But yeah,
yeah.
it's really cool.
Mm,
Good on Keanu. I'm glad that he's doing fun stuff and not just because he could just retire on John Wick and just keep doing that sort of film. But
yeah.
have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he never ages, so I feel like he'd be
Hmm.
around forever. He's a
He
vampire.
will. He's a
Mm.
vampire. Yep.
Yep. All right, let's jump
Proof.
into Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, which has the lowest critic and viewer score on Rotten Tomato.
Even more than the first.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then we're jumping back into the world of Rebel Moon Part 2, which had nowhere near the amount of hype or advertisement that the first one did. Because after the first one, they were like, "Oh, we've over budgeted for
Yeah, I made a
for this
mistake
film."
here.
Yeah, but they were
You should
like,
have said no like everybody else.
"We've backed it," and the name. Look, I think number one, they would have got heaps of people signing up and watching it, and then they would have been like, "Ha, this month has been really successful." And I don't think they're going to get this with number two.
No, because everyone
Mm,
laughed number one.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're jumping back into Korra and the surviving warriors to prepare to defend Veldrat. I don't even know how to say that.
Felt. Just
Velt,
felt.
Velt. Yeah, right. Their new home alongside its people against the realm. The warriors face their past, revealing their motivations before the realm's forces arrive to crush the growing rebellion. This is just number one with, again, mostly a recap into a different action scene. This was
Yep.
the most bizarre thing. Like the first part of the movie was just them being like, all right, we need to take the grain and put it into the middle of the city because they can't risk shooting us because the grain's in there and they want the
Because
grain.
they assume that everyone wants the grain. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Which, if
then
you replace grain with spice, it's just June at this point.
and then they were like, oh no, first we need to prepare everybody, but let's give each person a backstory, which we hadn't given yet. Like the lady with the swords, they were like, this is her
Oh,
backstory. And then we got the
yeah.
backstory of I can't remember who the other one. I stopped caring
Yeah,
by
totally.
this point. Like,
No, no, there was that scene where they're all sitting around having a drink, and it's just like person by person giving this little fucking sop story. It's
yeah.
it's really shit. I hated that scene.
It went for a long time as well.
Yeah, I fucking tuned out hard.
Like
I
it
was like the
was
first couple, I'm like, this is dumb, and then it just kept going, and we got like 6 or 7 fucking backstories in a row. So, oh my God, it feels like at a D&D session, like the first session when everyone sits down and gives their big story of how they got here. And I stopped listening to a lot of those as well because everyone goes way too long-winded, and that's what this felt like as well.
yeah. They need like a rhyme and backstory where it's like 3 lines.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Move on.
I'm mad because I'm mad. Simple. Let's fucking move on.
Yeah.
Titus.
Oh, I can't believe how long. And then they were like, "What's your backstory? You haven't given us a backstory." I was like, "No, don't you do it?" And then they did it, and I was sitting there
Of course they
going,
did it.
"This is 2 hours. This is 2 hours, and the
Yeah.
first hour is just a recap. There's
Didn't
nothing."
feel as long as the first.
I
Didn't to me.
disagree. I disagree. I mean, at least with the first one, it was like introduction of new characters, and then maybe because I was doing the mathematical equation of how fast a bird can fly, and if you're getting thrown off a bird, like
Yeah.
I had nothing that there was
Yeah, no
like
maths to do in the first one.
yeah, there was no like disbelief in this one. It was just recap of the first film, some backstory, a big action scene with far too much slow mo where the
Always.
main characters are able to stand in the middle and then spray shots and then everyone dies. Also, I don't understand what the robots are. Like the robots were apparently meant to be some massive thing in the first film, and then this robot has an interaction with Cora, and then they're like, "Oh, the princess is still alive. Oh, there's something," and then he just drops down and just is the turning tide of the entire battle. Like I don't.
Yeah, well, the robots in the first one, I'm trying to remember back because that's the thing. Like, I feel like this was only earlier this year, was it? Was it end of
Mm,
last year that we watched the first one? And I remember none of it, right? I had to go watch the YouTube recap because
mm,
at the beginning of this, they do this info dump and it's just sci-fi words being thrown at you. It's like on Tarak, the tsunami, fucking Curly, fucking like it's just all these random words being thrown at you. And I'm like, I don't know any what's happening. So I had to go watch this fucking Rebel Moon Part One recap
yeah.
because I just but even then, it's nonsense.
Also, what's
Uh
what's with the hair change? Does that mean she becomes more badass if she shaves her like sides of her
I
head?
don't know. I thought it was like she's bringing back her because that was how she wore her hair when she was part of the bad guys.
Yeah.
So it's like it's her embracing her darkness in
Okay.
order for but for good this time. That's how I saw it. But
Right.
I think I'm giving it too much credit.
Yeah. I was like, this is bizarre. I don't know why. I've just seen you change your hair and now you're just one man arming this whole thing. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think I was in a good mood though because I didn't hate it as much as the first. Everybody else
Right.
saying the opposite. Everyone's saying this is worse than the first, but I found it a little better.
I didn't mind the second half. Like it was just mindless. And then the first half was just
Yeah.
backstories. And I was like, oh, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I was on my phone a lot the first half.
yeah. But like
Because once
you
we get
said,
into the action though, it's like at least it's better than the first. The first one was just gathering friends,
yeah,
and every little action set piece had no weight because like obviously they're gonna survive, and it was dumb. And got some little super twist at the end that I was like, okay, I didn't expect that, but I guess I don't give a shit.
they did the
And
same thing
then
though.
it ended.
They did exactly the same
Sorry.
thing. They did the same thing. They were like, oh, there has to be some weight. So the one person who has the most coolest action scenes, let's spoilers. I don't care if I spoil this. She
No, fuck you.
does. She does. Also, why did she
Yeah.
cut her hand off? Why did she cut her arms off to get robot arms? Like she had a backstory, but I was like, why are you cutting your arm off to get revenge? Why does the robot arm make your arm better than
They do now.
normal arms?
Yeah.
Remember she
Well,
like
just
sliced
just
it.
Cyborg.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't know this, but when I was watching the recap, they mentioned she was a cyborg. I was
okay.
like, oh, okay.
Is she a
But
cyborg because she chops her arms off and then she gets robot arms from
well, I
like
think
the
she's
elbow up?
yeah, I think she's already like got robot bits. I don't know how many bits are robot bits. I don't know what, but like I don't
Because
know. I have no idea
that was flesh she cut off. She cut off her arm, which was flesh. There was no like,
in her
ro-
backstory.
yeah, there was no robot flesh.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a in order to make room for robot parts. I don't really
That's
know what's going on to be honest, because they're like I said, I didn't even know she was meant to be a cyborg. They may have mentioned it in the first part, but I didn't fucking grasp that.
no. This
Or at least I don't
was
remember it.
it was so bad. The whole franchise sucks. No wonder Star Wars were like, no, thank you.
No wonder no one said yes to this because this is just stupid shit.
Yep. Like, I don't know what he's thinking. He was like sent a heap of emails out and was like, "Hey, you want to back this film?" And then Netflix, just being Netflix, were like, "Zack Snyder, that'll sell some memberships."
Well, we're talking about it.
Mm, true.
Netflix is starting to Blumhouse everything. We'll fund anything because there's no risk.
Yeah, like sometimes they do real well, sometimes they don't, and this is one of the
And when they
ones.
don't, people still watch it and people
Yep,
still talk about it.
yep, yep.
You know, it's Blumhouse. It's Meeting with Three was it's still super talked about, but it wasn't a good movie
Yeah,
by any means. Same with Five Nights at Freddy's. Like I heard no one say they like it, but it's talked about. It made
and
some
it's
money.
and they're getting a sequel. They're getting the whole
Yeah,
franchise with it. Yeah,
they're getting an entire fucking universe.
I'm not surprised though. The games are super successful, so people are going to
Yeah.
watch it regardless. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
definitely. Kids love it.
Mm.
But yeah, you mentioned the slow mo earlier. There was some. I think I mentioned the first one. How many dumb slow mos there were, where like it's not even an action scene. We got a
Mhm.
slow mo of Titus filling water at one point, which they sort of like they
Oh,
mentioned later, like,
and
oh,
the
he,
grain, them harvesting the grain
oh,
slow mo.
yeah,
So
same,
why?
same as the first episode. Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care about people harvesting.
no, the
It's,
whole grain thing at the start was just okay. Who gives a shit?
and the training
Like, just
montage where
cut through
they
it.
the girl that was cutting the straw was like, "Oh, we got a natural here." It's like, what?
Which,
When they were doing their little training montage, which was a very, very average montage, where they were like doing the shooting and then they were showing him how to use a sword, and then
oh
she was
right,
chopping the straw like um
yeah, yeah, yeah,
person, and then she chopped through it where the other person didn't, and they're like, "Oh, we got a natural here," and then she did three more
yeah,
chops, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be good." So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
dumb.
It's real stupid, real stupid. When they were
Uh,
training up because they're training the civilians to fight against this fucking the Empire. They're training fucking random farmers to fight against the Empire, and I
yeah.
think they stand a chance with it. It's shit.
Oh. Also, once a robot comes, how's the robot that strong? Also, it does a
Yeah,
superhero. It does a superhero landing. Apparently, that the Empire, just like stormtroopers, cannot shoot a standing still target. Like the robot was standing there for a very long time. It was like one verse thousand, and they couldn't hit a shot. Like they couldn't even get close. There wasn't a bullet that flew past his head. It was like
Star Wars though. That's
it was
action movies. It's plot armor. It's always been that way.
yeah, but like action movies, they're like moving. Like he was stationary and he was like looking back and he was like, and then he did the slow mo like turn and like literally wiped out an entire like row of people.
Yeah, like an entire platoon.
And when he jumps out
I
the
know.
tank, it was like drops the grenade, and the bloke couldn't shoot him. He was a direct tunnel inside of a tank or whatever that walking
It wouldn't
thing
matter if he
is.
did because you shoot him and his the bullets just well not the bullets but the lasers just sort of bounce off.
No, but this
That
was
was the
this.
point.
Yeah, but like you still should be able to shoot him at that close range.
Yeah, of course, but it would have mattered.
Also, what hydraulics
It's
does he have
armor.
to be able to jump that high?
He's a robot and do it fucking once.
Like, that was a big jump with the
It's meant to
superhero landing.
be. So I was saying earlier, it's meant to be like a fucking companion robot where they're not meant to be violent or something. That was in the first one because they're like pushing him, remember? And
No, I
he's
thought
just like, "Thank you."
they changed, didn't they? When they like originally warrior robots and then they swapped them to companions.
Oh, something. Oh, that was that it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was wondering why they would make a companion robots like impenetrable by bullets.
yeah. That's
But
bizarre.
yeah, the only cool character was one who died. Lady was like my favorite character in the first one. I thought she was pretty
Yep,
sweet. And then this one, same.
yep.
And she's the only one who died.
I'm
Like,
also surprised they
whatever.
went with the colors. Like the rebels are red and the army the blue. Was that like so we don't get copyrighted by the Sith and the Jedi?
Uh, maybe. I think, but everyone does that though. In every game, the bad is red. Like, look at fucking any game you play. What color of the radar? Like looking at a little mini map at the top of the screen. Bad guys are red. Bad guys always been red.
Yeah, but the
This
rebels
is
are
just
red.
him trying to be special. I know.
Mm.
I
So,
think it's just him trying to be like, we're not like everybody else. We're different. We're special. We're unique. No.
oh man, it was uniquely boring. Like I was ready for this to be over. And
Yeah, but
I normally like action films, but this was bad.
I still
This
liked it
was
more than the first.
really
Yeah. I'm
fair
not
enough.
sure if I'm not sure if I need to rewatch the first in order to actually grasp the both of them, but my memory of the first one was just this is a waste of fucking time.
Yep.
But this was actually like, yeah, I'm getting a little bit into it
Yeah.
towards
Was
towards
it
the second
was it
half middle.
was, was it because it was Titus's line? The time has come for all that you love. Protect each other and show no mercy. It's such
Oh
a
Jesus. Nah. I know the writing's real bad. But again, like so is Star Wars.
yeah, but
It's not
Star
like
Wars
Star
still
Wars is doing
better.
much better.
They do better. They do better.
They do better. They make you care more about the characters. I couldn't
Yeah.
give a shit about all these characters.
No.
And everything Cora says is so fucking edgy and stupid.
Yeah. Like
And I hate
I
the romance between her and Gunnar as
oh my
well. Like I
God. Is his name Gunner just because he's gonna do something? Like is that
sure, man.
is the whole point of
Good
it?
joke.
Nah,
Good
like
joke.
I honestly thought like they need someone to do
It's not
something.
gonna. It's
Gunner's gonna do
gonna.
it. Yeah, but whatever. Same. That's the whole
Good
reason
joke.
they.
Good
Oh,
joke, man.
all right. Calm down.
You could
This-
write for Zack Snyder with jokes like that.
that would have been funnier than majority of the jokes in this.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. That would have been heaps funnier,
It would have fit.
wouldn't it not?
No,
Like,
you're not wrong.
I swear they've gone chat GPT, write me a Star Wars parody which won't get us copyrighted. And it's gone,
Mm.
here you go.
Did we talk about in the first one as well how unintimidating the bad guy is? Not the bad guy we see all the time. Not what's his fucking name? Not the one who's actually there, but the one who's like the one in charge, the one who raised
Uh,
Aura,
yeah,
Belisarius.
yeah,
He does not feel like a bad guy in any way.
no. But
I
also,
feel like you just punch him and he'd cry.
the bad guy being rezzed, I was like, you're less intimidating this time. I was like, maybe there should have been some different person coming in. Like,
Yeah, and it's a cop out. It's again, it's Star Wars. That's literally what happens in well between 3 and 4. But in Star Wars, like we just the bad guy who everyone thinks is dead isn't dead, and he comes back stronger than ever.
yeah, like I thought he was cool in the first
Yeah.
one, but this one he was average. I don't know.
Oh, I felt the same to me.
Okay,
I don't see much difference.
okay. Well, then I'm over this film. What would you give it?
Well, I gave the first one a 1.5, but I think that was a bit generous. So I'm gonna downgrade the first one to a 1, and I'm gonna give this one a 1.5.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give this one a one. It sucked. It
Yeah,
sucked.
you gave the first one a 1 as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So fair.
This one wasn't any better. All right, let's move on to Monkey Man. Do you want to lead Monkey Man? You're the man with the plan on this one.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you like.
yeah,
I mainly wanted to watch it because I heard so much about its production and just sort of how many problems Dev Patel had, and like there's a movie set in India, they had to film it in I think Singapore or Thailand or something because India's fucking COVID went crazy. They
yeah,
started filming in 2020, which was obviously COVID, and then yeah, they lost budgeting. It was originally meant to be released on Netflix, but then Jordan Peele bought it, which is Monkey Paw Productions.
yeah. I saw his
Um,
name on it, and I was like, "What did he play? Just producing it?"
yeah, he more or less saved it from a non-theatrical release because it was already finished by the time he bought it.
Okay,
And he watched it, he bought it, he got it into cinemas. So that was his role.
yeah,
Um, some scenes had to be filmed on like GoPros, and there's literally some scenes filmed with iPhones.
yeah,
Uh, it's just like they this had so many problems with the production that it almost didn't get made. But I've heard Dev Patel say these were just reasons to keep going and challenges rather than roadblocks. So credit where it's due. This is his directorial debut, and I think it's a fantastic debut. My letterbox review literally just said, "If this is what he makes when everything goes wrong, I look forward to seeing what he can make when everything goes right." And
yeah.
I'm hoping that because of this, he gets greenlit on more projects and gives more money.
Oh, I definitely think he will.
Mm,
Yeah, like it was an interesting movie. Like
for sure.
we were having a conversation last night. We're like, oh, we better save this one.
Yeah. So, an anonymous young man unleashes a campaign of vengeance against the corrupt leaders who murdered his mother and continue to systemically victimize the poor and powerless. So, we follow our character Dev Patel. Well, his name's not Dev Patel. The actor is actor, writer, director, producer Dev Patel.
I didn't realize he
He's
acted in it too.
yeah, his the main character.
Yeah, there you go. There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
Dev.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
okay.
didn't realize that.
Yeah, he did it all, and he broke his hand and toes and ribs and all sorts, making it like he
Yeah,
went
right.
hard.
That doesn't show on screen though.
No, his character is fucking invincible. He's credited as Kid, but he's known as Bobby, so I'm gonna call him Bobby because that's how he talks. He introduced himself to people as Bobby, so I guess it's like not his actual name, but anyway, uh, Bobby he is like, living poor. He's like slums of India. He was grew up with his mother. It's this movie. I think you get more out of this if you know, especially if you're Indian. I think you and live in India, you probably get a lot out of this because a lot of it is about the systemic abuse of um like politics in India and how corrupt police and the what's almost like the hierarchy gap between the rich and the poor and that sort of stuff. So a lot of it's about that. But yeah, initially we see our character talking to his mother about the legend of the Monkey Man, and it's Haruman, I think. It's the
Yeah.
Monkey Man. So the Monkey Man is a story about the monkey who was reaching up to the trees for this golden mango. It turns out the mango was actually the sun, and he ate the sun and
Yep.
was punished by the gods,
Yep.
more or less. And yeah, so the story of Dev Patel's character really sort of follows the story of the Monkey Man. There's obviously a lot of symbolism there. The movie's full of symbolism and sort of like subliminal messaging. But I also think it's
Until the third
blatant
act.
enough.
Until the third act where it actually becomes like the living pretty much embodiment of the
Yeah,
monkey man.
he does. So yeah, the story begins with Dev, and it's very like he is moonlighting as like a wrestler, a fighter. He can take a fucking beating. I thought this character was going to be like because of his injuries as a kid, he couldn't feel pain or some shit because he like can just get absolutely fucking destroyed and show no scars or wounds or anything.
Yeah, this was
But
bizarre. Like there was no injuries whatsoever throughout the
no,
entire film.
there's a scene where he goes and gets beaten up, and he intentionally tells his friend to bet against him. And he in the next shot is in like an elevator, and he has no wounds or anything.
No.
And I thought, okay, I was expecting to see him and see him all fucked up, but nope, nothing.
Yeah, and he's meant to get like more money if he bleeds or something or other. But I was like, if you don't get injured, how are you gonna get more money?
He bleeds, but
Not
short term,
real,
I guess.
not really. Like the when we
Like without
see
his mask and stuff.
no, really. Yeah, right.
Yeah, we see him like spitting on his hand and there's blood on his hand and everything. Like
Yeah,
he
but
does bleed. It's just not.
it,
It's just not afterwards. It's like only during, and then he's covered and he's good. Like his,
true,
it
true.
was strange.
Mm.
So yeah, initially he's working for like, we try. He earns his way up in this like criminal world where there's like prostitution and drugs and whatever else. And there's some commentary on like the drug trade, the prostitution trade in India as well. And initially, it's a revenge story because his mother was killed by corrupt police. And they came and burned down his village and stuff because they're making room for land and whatever politicians, blah blah. He's on the hunt for this certain police officer who murdered and killed his, raped his mother, which supposedly was a scene they had to cut because it was too graphic. There's a really rough rape scene that they cut. So fair. um, and yeah, it's a revenge story initially. He's trying to follow this guy, finally finds him, brings a gun, um, shoots, points on his face, and everything goes bad. He kills no one. He only barely escapes with his life, and is rescued by this random guru guy.
Yeah, the guru. I feel like the guru was there mainly for plot convenience.
Yeah, like there was this like commune of people who looked after him and got him all
And
better, and they had a training montage.
yeah, unless it was like prophecy, they were like there will be a savior coming at this time because he's the guru. That's what I assumed. It was like they knew where he was going to be because they somehow knew he was going to be the one.
Yeah, but they also it was never explained like that.
No, it wasn't, but it was. That's what I just assumed
It
because
just
I was
felt
like,
convenient.
this makes no sense. Why all of a sudden they know,
Hmm.
and he's the living embodiment after a training montage.
Yeah, so he becomes the beast. You put it in chat in our messages last night, which I like.
Yeah,
Uh, that's where we see, because initially he's fighting for himself, and the whole thing is like, I fight for me, I fight for vengeance, I'm here to kill this man because of what he did to me.
Hmm.
Then he goes through this training montage, and just like the monkey, he realizes that selfish means aren't going to give him the strength that he needs to fight for the people. And he
Hmm.
becomes part of why he becomes so powerful. He's not just fighting for himself, not just fighting for his mother, he's fighting for the people. And it's
Power of
more,
friendship.
yeah, sure. He becomes like the yeah, he's about, it's more than about like, I'm fighting for the corrupt society. I'm fighting for the social inequalities and race classes, not race class, the what do you call it? Hierarchy, fucking dollar classes. I'm trying to think
Hmm.
of words right now. I've been awake for like half an hour. Um, yeah. So it's he then goes on this huge badass fucking fighting spree. His action scenes are fucking sick. We'll get there soon, I'm sure. Um, and then he sort of goes through, kicks everyone's ass, gets to the guy he's been trying to kill, kills him, gets to another guy that who is like higher up. There's a bit of like commentary as well about how people in power, can be on the outside all like spiritual and whatever, but on the inside they're actually fucking poisonous.
Yep.
Um, so he reaches this like end guru guy. The end guru guy stabs him. He stabs end guru guy multiple times in the face, and it cuts to black. So we assume that his character is like dead, but we don't really get to see it, so probably not.
No, probably just setting
Depends.
up.
It depends if it's greenlit for a sequel or not. Yeah.
Yeah. So this gets compared to John Wick, and
Yeah.
there are lots of similarities. A little bit different.
They even say the name John Wick in the movie. Like it's intentionally like John Wick. It's
Yeah.
based. It's inspired by and it's an homage to.
Yeah. Look, I liked it. I liked the For me, I even like the symbolism in it. Like I enjoyed actually watching him turn into the beast. The action
Yeah.
scenes were cool. I didn't really like how he was just invincible. It annoyed me that there was no like scars or anything.
Yeah. I
And
wanted something. Like
yeah,
I like the John Wick when you see how much he's hurting.
yeah. So like I feel like they needed a little bit because he was just invincible. Because when they're down and out, and then they finally get to the big boss, and then they overcome their injuries to kill the big boss. Whatever.
Hmm.
That's what I like. But like, I still enjoyed this. I still wanted him to get the police officer and the big bad
Yeah.
overall. Like
Yeah.
the cinematography is awesome.
It's amazing.
He's done such a good job considering the
Yeah.
hurdles he had to come and for a debut. Like that's
Yeah, for
pretty
sure.
crazy.
He does things with cameras that like he knows what the fuck he's doing. Like some directors and especially a lot of people who go from acting to directing, I think there's like the safety net of if this goes badly, I can always get back to acting.
Yeah.
Whereas this doesn't feel like that. This really feels like he's giving this his all.
Yeah.
It there's he could have at many times given up on this project, and based on everything that happened, he probably should have at points. But I'm so fucking glad he didn't because this is really, really good.
Yeah. I hadn't heard
Um,
about it until you suggested it. Apparently,
yeah,
it's done pretty badly box office wise, but like I hadn't heard about it. So advertising wise, I don't think they did that well. So apparently, it's getting
yeah.
pushed to streaming services pretty quickly, and I think it'll
I don't
do
know why
well.
Jordan Peele wanted it to bring it to theatrical release. He should have gone crazy with advertising and stuff because you're right. Like this is unique. Like Dev Patel said himself, he thinks that all action movies are starting to feel the same. They're just there for a cash grab, and he wanted something with more soul
Mhm.
and more culture. And this is that to me. Like this is like it reminds me a little bit of, in a better way, reminds me a little bit of Polite Society, where it's like it's an action film, but we're getting like it's all about the culture as well. Like Polite Society was about Sri Lanka, I think it was Sri Lankan, I forget. But it's obviously so embedded with the Indian culture that there's so much more to it. There's so much more to understand and to sort of like to actually think about. Whereas like John Wick's good, don't get me wrong, but I think this is better in a way because we're getting all the really cool action scenes, but we're also getting a commentary on social class
Mhm.
and on, you know, how horrible it is in India and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, 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 fair. Yeah, I'm very impressed with this film. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, okay. And for a Lawson pick, I was like, ooh, this is more up Ramon's alley.
Yeah, I was surprised actually that it had more action than I thought. I didn't really know that much about it. I knew that, it was an action film, but I didn't realize it was going to be this heavy into it.
Yeah.
But it was well shot. Like I love the first Kingsman because I think that the action scenes in that are done stylistically and
Yeah.
effectively. I think same with this. Like as much as there's a lot of shaky cam and there's a lot of, fucking probably motion sickness inducing moments, it's still like I think that lends to it because it is really gritty. Like
Mm.
it's really like it feels amateur at times, but I think that actually helps it. Like it feels like I'm actually in the room and being thrown around like a monkey, like
Definitely in the boxing ring.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everything's really close, pardon me.
Mm.
But I think
I
that
like.
like totally lends to it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. What would you give it?
Hmm. Uh we finished about it already, are we? Jesus. I'm at a four.
Mm. Me
I
too.
think that there are elements like you know, it is just an action film again. Like let's not try and talk it up to be like a fucking five. It's not a masterpiece, but there's a lot to like. I really like. I mean, quickly mention one more thing at the end, where the head guru guy, even right towards the end, he's telling the story about these sandals that he has and how they were designed in a way that meant you didn't step on bugs and kill them and stuff. In the same sandals, he pulls out like a knife and stabs the shit out of Dev Patel's character. Like there's little moments like that are just on the outside versus the inside. How we perceive people versus how they really are. Um, yeah, it's smart in a really interesting way
Yeah.
for an action movie, especially. So, yeah, like a four.
Yep.
I had a better time than I thought I was going to, especially after Act One. Act One was kind of slow. I think the pacing around like the character telling stories and stuff was kind of why do I care? Like the whole him getting a job and that sort of stuff. It felt like there's meant to be action scenes happening, but they didn't happen. Um, I felt just sort of like waiting for action at that point. That's what the sort of building to it, but I think it finally paid off in Act Three. So
Yeah. But I think
yeah,
they needed that
four.
for you to care though. Like,
Yeah, but there was this weird sort of tension. Like they were getting to like I was not that I was waiting for action, but it felt like action scenes were happening without actually seeing any action.
okay. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the whole building, the whole him getting a job and him going and in and everything. Like I was not just confused story wise, but also like tonally it felt tense, even though it wasn't meant to be at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. Easy four for me. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. And hopefully you pick more like that. Pick more.
Mm, Probably not. My next week pick isn't like that.
Hooray.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. The last one off our ranks, which is the Grimm variations, Netflix's newest telling or anime rendition. This is a bit of a different take on all of it because they put a twist, quite a different twist on all sorts of things. But this is all meant to be designed and exposing the shadowy side of human desire in the classic Brothers Grimm stories. So the introduction, I was like, what is happening? I didn't really understand the interaction between the two. I'm assuming they're the
Oh
brothers
yeah, yeah.
and the sister or the young girl. I didn't really get,
Tell me a story, Daddy. You mean that part?
yeah, I didn't really
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
who they are, but I'm assuming after the sixth episode, it's meant to like feed into who they are. I was assuming they were the brothers. Um,
I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
me too. But is it relevant? Like,
probably
it
not.
almost didn't even need to be there.
No. So each episode is telling a different story. The first episode is about Cinderella. The second one is Little Red Riding Hood, and the third one is Hansel and Gretel.
Hmm.
So they're taking your standard stories, or if you've actually know the original Brothers Grimm story, and they're putting a twist on it. So Each episode, the first one with Cinderella, I struggled with this one. I was like, oh, I'm in for a bit of a slog here because I was
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
I didn't like the first one. I was like, I didn't really
Really the
like
one I
it.
remember. Very interesting. It was the one I think I remember the most.
Really. I
Yeah,
I enjoyed the second one, Little Red Riding Hood, even though
of course you would have.
it was bizarre in terms of how they took it out and they were like went
Yeah,
into
but
the
it was more of an
future.
action and more violence. Therefore, you liked it more. Muscle
Ah,
Brain.
yeah, yeah. Because the first one is about Cinderella being real manipulative and having
Yeah.
a doll that is able to be her companion and help her
Hmm.
twist and turns. And it was a bit of a too slow of a burn for me. The first one, I was like,
Right. Where I kind of
let's
liked that mystery to the first one
okay,
because the first one was like, oh, okay, Cinderella, even though her name wasn't Cinderella. Cinderella's a bit evil, and you sort of, as the story is continuing, and you sort of piecing it together, and it's interesting because in the classic story of Cinderella, you instantly take her side because she's downtrodden and mistreated and whatever. But in this, you sort of you take the stepsister side a little bit because you're like, what the fuck is happening to Cinderella?
yeah,
Yeah, I like the mystery to it all. I think it was well revealed. You still didn't get a clear ending though, because it was like, was Cinderella? I thought she was gonna be like a demon or something, and then I was expecting at the end for there to be like this big fucking reveal that she's actually this fucking demon, and she has this huge action scene where she kills everyone or something, but she didn't.
okay, yeah. Like it
So it
was.
felt.
Look, I don't mind the twists in them, but yeah, it was just a little bit of a slow burn for me. And
Mhm.
I don't like how they don't wrap up. Like I don't like the open ending stuff where episode two takes
That's
the
sort of like that's happy ever after stuff, isn't it? That's sort
mm,
of
yeah, yeah,
like there's always more to their life, and this is the opposite. Like
yeah, but
what's that? What's the opposite of happy ever after? Sad ever after?
yeah, but this is I don't know. I wanted because they did a twist and it was like, is she evil? Is she not evil? Like, how much more
Mm,
did she manipulate? When it's like happily ever after, it's like, oh, they lived happily ever after. There you go. There's your ending. You don't need the
yeah,
mundane like
but
what
this isn't
bits
happy,
and
so
pieces. Yeah,
it's meant to be ending on like a what the fuck.
yeah,
I kind of like that, to be honest. I like when things are a bit more open and the what ifs rather than just that's kind of tidy, too tidy.
okay,
I like it better.
yeah.
But anyway,
Then you got Little Red Riding Hood, which they have taken the original story, which normally happens in the woods, and they've put it into a futuristic setting where it's got some VR stuff. People are paying to go into these different scenarios and play out the sort of settings. So the wolf is taking people from this party and then eating them and stabbing them,
hmm
and then we run the futuristic side of the Little Red Riding, where she's eaten by the wolf, but the hunter saves her. And
yeah,
it was a bit of a twist. This one's a bit more gory. This one's
very
a lot of blood spillage everywhere, and I was like,
yeah.
"Whoa, all right, this is a little
Because the
bit,
first one is completely set in this like high class society where everyone's very prim and proper. Then this one, like the first scene, is a man. Is she meant to be a prostitute or they're in a brothel? I forget the situation, but a man takes a woman to like a back room. I think he's meant to be a prostitute at this point. Um, they start like sleeping together. He rips her tongue out. He bites her ear off. Fucking blood everywhere. She then like changes form back to this like wheedled, like middle-aged woman, this weathered woman. Yeah, it's very, very like stark change from the first, but
yes,
very welcomed, I think.
yeah." So like, I didn't mind it. It was a little bit trippy with the futuristic stuff, and I was
Yeah,
like,
very Black
okay.
Mirror.
Yeah. It lost me a little bit towards the end where it was like all sorts of futuristic, like whole setup that everyone's like putting
Mhm.
on the goggles and stuff and going into this world to be whatever. But I didn't mind it. I thought it was an interesting twist. I enjoyed it more
Yeah,
than the first one because there was
I
like,
think to me it had less substance, but it had more to watch
yeah,
than the first.
okay, yeah, that's fair. And then the third one confused the hell out of me. I was like, what is happening here? So this one is your Hansel and Gretel. So they stumble upon the witch's house, which is made of sweets in the forest.
Hmm.
They recognize it's a trap. They outsmart and defeat the witch before escaping in the original tale. And in this one, it's like we ship you on a spaceship and you land. I was like, what in the hell is happening? And then Gretel is your imaginary friend that you've tagged along, and then
Yeah,
you've
sort of.
landed there. I was like, what? Yeah, it lost me. And I was like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, this one was like it had more like what is even happening. The first one had a little bit of that. The second was less subtle, but this one was like more of a reveal. This one was very Black Mirror.
Okay.
Because it's like as the show goes on, the characters know more than we do, and that's sort of that how Black Mirror works as well. Um, yeah, this witch is explaining how there's like boundaries to the edge of the world, and you know you have to push past those boundaries and make your own decisions and not just listen to conformity, blah blah blah. You know, like, why is this even happening?
Yeah.
Um, and you think that like at one point you think that mother and father are like evil and they're trapping these kids, and you think that's like that's the twist is that the witch is actually the good guy and the mother and father are the bad guys. But like you said, it turns out that these kids are on like a space station because the world has been destroyed and is inhospitable, like in have what's the word, inhabitable,
Inhabitable.
can't live on it. Um, and yeah, he passes a test. I think that's how it wrapped up. Like he
Yep.
passed the test. He more or less is thinking on his own, and he's now able to be shipped down to Earth and grow up amongst the other ones who have done the same thing. Um, and now they can help rebuild Earth. I think that's what's meant to be happening. That's sort of how I got it at the end, but it was a little bit like what's happening because as much as they're trying to explain, like these are longish episodes, they're not the standard 25 minutes for an anime. They're like 40, 45. But I feel like this story could have been told in like a full feature length because even as it was, there's a bit like I need more information.
Yeah, this one was confusing. I was like, oh, this was odd. Look, I liked two, three, and then one. Like, that was my order. So I liked them.
Mine was, oh, I don't know. I think one's my favorite.
Okay.
Like I said, I think two is the most enjoyable visually. There's a lot happening. They go fucking hard with some of the like the violence and the gore, which I really like in anime. That's why I like Chainsaw Man so much, I guess. Um, but I think one like stays with me more
Okay.
because one is like a more interesting story for me
That's
that sort of
fair.
intrigue what's happening, and yeah. And
Yep.
three was good, but I was still like confused. Well, like, I
Yeah.
mean, I got it. I grasped what happened, but it was still like, did I enjoy it? I don't. I'm not 100% sure.
No. But it
But it's the
doesn't,
highest rated.
yeah. It doesn't make me want to watch the other ones though. Like I'm not blown away
Well,
by this though.
also the fact that the first three are like classic. You know, we've got what do you say, Cinderella, Little Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel. They're like three classic fairy tales. Episode four, The Elves and the Shoemaker. Episode five, The Town Musicians of Bremen.
I don't
Episode
know.
six, The Pied Piper.
Yeah. Like the Pied Piper, the other two
I know that one. The
I
other
don't
one I
know
never
the
heard
ones.
of.
Like I would have thought they'd do like Rumpelstiltskin or like,
There's heaps.
yeah. I thought they'd do something.
Rapunzel.
Yeah, they decided to go with those ones. Was it like
Yeah.
easier to make a twist on it? Like Rapunzel, where's your twist? Like she lures people in with her hair to eat. Like what's the
Yeah. Or the hair itself is like
eating
eating people
people?
when she's not even aware of it. Or
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's why she's locked away because she's like a cannibal. Who knows?
Yeah. See, look, boom. Could
Yeah,
have written season two for them.
yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, I didn't know anything about this lead going into it. And I think the first episode set me up for more intrigue in the next two. But I didn't enjoy them as much as the first. But like
yeah,
it's interesting. Like I recommend this to people, honestly. Like I think if you're like what was the other show we watched that was it was a Japanese fairy tale one. It's like a live action. Um,
Oh, yeah. That was where the witch like randomly appeared.
yeah, she was funny as
Yeah.
fuck. Like
Ah,
I like, oh, what was it even called?
I don't
You know
know.
what? I'm gonna look this up because I'm super curious now.
Okay. Because it was like that
Uh,
was kind of Cinderella. It was like Cinderella something, wasn't it? Isn't it? The live action parody.
Once Upon a Crime.
That's the one.
Yeah. I what I like about that though is I really like the Grimm fairy tales, and I think that like as soon as you build a story amongst the Grimm fairy tales, there's already a preconception, and like to give us enough of that fairy tale to make us recognize it, but also to twist it in a way that makes it feel fresh. I think is a really good thing to do. It's almost easy. A lot of people doing it now. It's fucking public domain. Of course it is.
Yep.
But it felt like I liked these stories. They didn't feel like everything else doing the same thing in my eyes. Like
True.
I liked that it was even though the Grimm fairy tales are already, you know, grim, they're already pretty dark and horrible. This was just as dark and horrible, but with a twist. The good guys are bad guys. Red Riding Hood in this one was like she killed the wolf, more or less. Hansel and Gretel was such a unique story, had nothing to do with really with the original Hansel and Gretel besides the characters. So yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't hate
True.
it. I would recommend it to the right people. I think
Yeah.
that um to the right audience, this is a pretty interesting watch. It's like my partner happened to walk in at one point. I was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's fairy tales and it's a twist on it." She's like, "Oh, it sounds interesting." So the right
Yeah.
people, I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Definitely. But for me, like it's my enjoyment was probably like 2.5. Like it wasn't there that
Okay.
I was like super, super engaged to even
Yeah,
like continue watching the other ones. Like after the
I think I
first
will.
one, I was like, not interested. And then the second one, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in mind that. And then Hansel and Gretel was like, this is real confusing. And
Yeah.
then like
If you wanted to give each one a number, could you do that?
first one was like a two, Little Red Riding Hood like 3.5, Hansel and Gretel like a three.
Okay.
So like some people would get really good enjoyment from it. Those that really
Hmm.
love the fairy tales and stuff. Like
Hmm.
I think you'd be all about it. Like I don't mind the
Yeah, for
fairy
sure.
tales, but I don't know. So it's like a three. It's probably a three, but like my enjoyment was like
Two
2.5.
and a half. Yeah, two and a
Yeah.
half's fine. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm at a three.
Yeah.
It's mine's like I was like three and a half, three and a half, three.
Okay.
So 3 point and a bit, I guess, but three-ish.
That's fair.
Like I
That's
said,
fair.
right audience. This is pretty interesting. I do want to watch the rest. I think because it's very easy watch. Like I was able to play Pokemon while I was watching these and still grasp what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to stare at the screen and take this in like some other complex stories.
True. True.
But yeah, it reminded me a lot of, like I said before, Black Mirror, because anthology series, every episode is different. It's more of a discovery mystery and
Yep.
find out sort of piecing information together and then getting a reveal at the end and wrapping it up. Like I really like that form of storytelling. So I think this suited me in a way. But yeah, three,
Fair.
three and a
Fair.
bit.
Fair. Nice. All right. Next week, we got a interesting lineup next week. We've got
Mm-hmm.
Baby Reindeer, which is
It's
popping
so
off at
good.
the moment. Well, right.
I watched it all. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's fucking great. I watched all of it. I
Tune,
binged it in a sitting.
tune in next week to find out if it's good. And we've got Go Go Loser Ranger, which we've been excited for, which is a
Yeah.
anime parody slash adaptation of like Power Rangers, inspired by
Mhm.
Power Rangers. And then we've got Late Night with the Devil, which is a Lawson pick.
Yeah,
So,
buddy.
mm. So
So
all
was the
we,
reindeer.
mm, but yeah,
You got
I
two
mean,
picks this week.
it's popping, so we'll give it a
Uh,
look.
yeah, definitely.
You know what to do if you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You want us to watch anything or you've got ideas, jump in that Discord. It'll be in the show notes down below or in the comment. And just tell your friends, tell them all.
Tell your friends.
We'll see you guys next time. Please.
Love yous.